Hello there,
Way too close, my dude.
and welcome to episode 5 of Dead Reflections Podcast. We are your hosts,
Caleb.
My name's Colby.
and I'm your boy Josh, aka Drifter Voyages. And thank you for tuning in with us today for another exciting episode of Dragon Ball. Never mind.
Oh my god.
I was telling
Yeah,
Caleb
stumped.
I'm gonna have to get you a shot collar every time you get close to the mic.
Yeah, shot collar. Shot collar, something.
But yeah. Any news?
We just played a show yesterday. That was fun.
That's correct.
Yeah, shout out to all the bands that we played with.
And that would be 3 days ago from when this
Yeah, from
comes
when
out.
this. That's right. You're right. Yeah, it was super fun. We played in San Marcos at the Ragnar's on the Compound with some of our homies. Like,
Shout out Release the Captive for putting it all together.
yeah. Oh, they were the ones that put it all together.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
That
know
was their show.
Oh shit.
They just got Rain to shout out Rain, Skyler Harpole. He's one of the awesome dudes that we go through to book shows, promoters. Couldn't think of that word. But yeah, he's an awesome promoter for Come and Take It Live. And but yeah,
My seat's squeaking. Sorry.
That'll segue into who you got on.
Oh yeah, I am a Release the Captive fanboy today. I have a Release the Captive shirt on and a Release the Captive hat on. I spent like $80 on band merch at the show.
And I believe that is the shirt that like just came out.
Yeah, they
So
just
that
released
It's
this
got a really
shirt.
sick design on the back. And
Oh
everything.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
I
really
could
cool
I
shirt.
could spin around real quick.
yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, it's a dope looking shirt.
It's like a tarot card.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We have
shirt.
a
Very
we have
cool
a tarot
dudes.
card merch shirt too,
Oh, we do. Yeah,
with the zombie
coming out.
hand with
Forgot
the dagger going
Yeah.
through it. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I'm wearing Dying Wish. Dope, awesome female-fronted metalcore band. Seen them like what, 2 or 3 times at least.
I think so. Yeah, and they're out of Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite metalcore bands at the moment.
and then
Dude, I didn't know
supporting the
that.
Astros.
Astros.
Stros.
I didn't know you guys had seen them already.
Yeah, we saw them at the Orthodox Kublai Acacia Strain show.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a really cool one. That's the one that I got my car booted at because I didn't pay for parking. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
'Cause I'm a dumb.
Yeah, if you guys follow Caleb on Instagram, he's got some funny pictures of that.
And I
Yeah,
got
that's right. We did only see them once.
yes,
For some reason,
yeah,
I was
it was once. Yeah,
I was thinking of Venom Prison, but yeah.
another great band. I'm wearing VANNA. I think we all know them. This is when Colby introduced me to them. One of my favorite bands of all
Oh,
time.
Didn't you get to go to their like saying goodbye?
Yeah. So I
thing?
saw them twice on their farewell tour in Texas, and I saw them once at their final show in Worcester, out in Massachusetts.
Oh wow,
Yeah, that was a really cool show.
that's it. Yeah, y'all like flew out. I remember that. You even have like their flag and everything.
Yeah,
around
I got
here
there's a
somewhere,
flag right out of frame. I got a poster on the wall that has like the set list, and then it's signed, and it's got all like our tickets, our flight tickets, and stuff in there.
Dude,
it's
that's
pretty cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, all right.
You want
So
to light the candle?
yeah, we can light the candle. This is our what 5th candle now? Jesus. All right. Fourth
Fourth, yeah,
candle.
I was like-
Episode 4, Josh.
We're
Did I say episode 4 or I said episode 5? Welcome to episode 4, everybody.
Did you
Jesus
really?
Christ, yeah.
I didn't
dude.
even catch it.
Yeah,
I
me
didn't
neither.
yeah. Oh well, that's fine. It's episode 4, JK.
This has been a
Jeez.
long day.
Yeah.
It has been a long day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it has. But yeah, so we pulled from the creepy jar and we pulled aliens, right?
Yes. Yeah. When you chose that story, also we need to name this guy. This
Yeah,
little
we do
creepy
need to
jar
name
that
him.
we have here. It's
Let's name him
yeah.
Steve.
Oh, I was gonna say let
yeah.
them
We'll let
name them.
Oh,
we'll let
that's
Chad
right,
do it
yeah.
or listeners, whoever.
Yeah, if you whoever's listening, if you got a nice name for our creepy little jar here, friend that gives us stories at the end of every episode, then please let us know and we will pick one.
The majority color on it is
Bronze. I'd say.
bronze and
It's very ornamental.
Yeah,
bronze and gray.
I mean it's made
It's
out
not
of
quite
like
black.
clay or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess we'll maybe post a picture of it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's
Please name.
yeah, please name me. Yeah. But I am ready for some spooks.
Yeah, me too.
So
I'm ready.
who's
for
leading
some
us off?
I always lead us
Okay.
off.
He leads us into the spooky stories. So what do you got for us today?
So since we pulled aliens, I wanted to stick with kind of along the same lines, and I went with a cryptid story this week.
So it's a alien cryptid.
Not alien,
Because cryptids could be a type of like alien, like it's just
True.
a
That's
paranormal.
but
entity.
this has to do with sort of related to like Loch Ness monster type of lore.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll let you.
Loch Ness monster type of lore?
Yeah, like
Nessie?
yeah.
Oh.
like just old British like monsters. You know, they got their own subgenre.
Yeah.
They really do. In the world of cryptids, they've got a whole like plethora of
it's
stories.
that land over there, it's very old.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's got a lot of
yeah.
history to it.
And but I really don't have any
No setup.
set up, so
All right, let's get into
Jump
it.
to
right
it. This one's called The Lake. And it's by Luna Kinesis on Creepypasta. Cryptozoology has always been a minor interest of mine. I say minor because it was something I'd only enjoy casually. A few internet articles here and there, scrolling through a couple of pages on a Tumblr blog dedicated to it, maybe watching one of those Bigfoot documentaries. You know, that kind of interest. Nothing serious. Generally, that would be pretty common for most people. Most people, however, do not live in my little town where a supposed cryptid is how many folks here make a living. See, I live in a small town in the UK, more specifically northwest of England. It's a tiny place not many people outside of the country have likely heard of, unless they've already been there for whatever reason and have an interest in cryptids. My small town is situated by one of the many lakes that dot this part of the country, and as so many bodies of water do, we have our own Loch Ness monster. So many people claim anyway. I'm sure many of you are skeptical of that as you are of any such monster. Who can blame you? I grew up here and I didn't buy into that. I found it interesting, but I didn't believe it. Same as I didn't believe those people who claim aliens probed their backsides or that Bigfoot had destroyed their camp. It was something to read about and enjoy, but not something I believed. Most of my generation and that of my parents felt the same, but many of my grandparents' era clung to the belief in this monster. They stayed away from the lake unless they were in decently sized boats or one of the many ferries that traveled the length of the lake to nearby settlements. Not us kids and teens though, especially not in the summer. Most of the time, British summers are nothing to brag about. They're pretty warm, but usually cloudy or wet. Sometimes, however, we're blessed with a heat wave. Nothing was better than a dip in the lake. During the heat of the day, during the school holidays, the other kids would hang out by the lake well into the evening. The worst that ever happened was that someone would get a cramp while swimming, and we'd have to get them back to the shore. Someone would get their foot tangled in some lake weed and freak out until they realized what it actually was. Nothing sinister, nothing serious. Most certainly, no lake monster. One particular day during Easter break, where it was much too cold to spend more than 5 minutes in the lake, I was spending my time climbing the many tall trees that covered the areas around the lake. Maybe I was a bit old for tree climbing, most likely, but it had always been something I enjoyed doing. Something about climbing as high as I could and settling down on a sturdy branch, just looking over my surroundings, was something I enjoyed. Most of the time, I'd watch boats going up and down the lake, people going about their business, cars passing down the country roads, just typical stuff not worthy of merit. But this day in spring was different. The day itself was like any other. Chilly but sunny day in late March. I'd already taken up my temporary church in an old oak tree, where I'd stay for an hour or so before going off to meet friends. From where I was perched, I could see two young kids, maybe about 8 or 9 playing down by the shore. They weren't close to the water, just sitting in the grassy area a little ways off the bank. I couldn't really see what they were doing. Beyond that, the general observation was nothing out of the ordinary. What was unusual was the large, dappled gray horse trotting along the shoreline towards them. Horses weren't exactly an unusual sight themselves out in a rural town, but they were usually in their fields or accompanied by a rider. There was no one else in sight, and this horse had no saddle, no bridle, or any other sort of riding gear. There are no true wild horses in the UK, and the only semi-wild horses make their home in the New Forest, somewhere at the other side of the country. That left the option of it having somehow gotten out of its field. For all it seemed weird to me, in hindsight, it wasn't all that unusual. Tourists were always crossing through the private land and leaving gates open. Animals were bound to get out on occasion. The kids took immediate notice of the animal, looking up from their chatter and letting out a delighted squeals I could hear even from my spot up in the tree. I watched as they ran up to it, fearless as all children were, oblivious to the fact that if they spooked it, one kick from its front or back legs could shatter their developing bones. I watched as the pair gleefully pet the animal. The horse itself didn't seem to mind the attention, which led me to think it was one frequently used for riding. Most likely one of the horses rented out to tourists so they could enjoy a ride through the countryside. The horse lowered its head, allowing one of the kids to press a hand to its muzzle. I could hear their delighted laughter as the pair took turns alternating between stroking its flank and head. It was pretty cute, I'd have to admit. There's always something magical about an unfamiliar animal being content with your presence. With how calm this horse seemed to be, I didn't bat an eye as it lowered itself to the ground. The pair of kids seemed ecstatic about this, climbing onto the animal's back. Not exactly safe or smart, but kids don't really think like that. I'm sure the horse would have made it very clear it didn't want them clambering all over it if it wanted to. It was a pretty damn big horse. Took a few moments to realize the children were no longer letting out happy squeals and giggles. They were screaming. I couldn't understand why at first, but as my vision focused more on the horse, I knew. How I hadn't noticed the change, I don't know. But where once it had been dappled gray, it was now black. The kind of black that seems to absorb all light around it, distorting it. It seemed to be dripping wet. Even from my spot in the tree, I could see the tangled mess of its waterlogged mane and tail leaking water onto the ground. Its eyes were the worst of it. I shouldn't have been able to see them clearly from such a distance, but even in the dull spring sun, I could see the glowing from those sickling, milky eyes. It threw its head back, rising to its feet with the children still on its back. They were trying to get off, but they couldn't. I don't know how, and I'm sure they didn't know how either, but no matter how much they struggled and screamed, they couldn't get off that horse. It was like they were super glued to it. I couldn't move from my spot no matter how much my mind screamed at me to jump down and do something. I'm ashamed to admit, fear consumed me. Sweat dripped down my brow as my breathing grew more rapid by the second. My heart was beating so hard and fast that it hurt. I had no proper words to describe the primal terror that gripped me. The same terror I imagined gripped our ancestors when confronted by a giant cave bear or an angry mammoth. Though where their fight or flight instinct would kick in, mine didn't. I was simply frozen. Frozen as the beast charged towards the water, screaming children on its back, their cries not silenced until their heads dipped under the water. Water that frothed and bubbled as they struggled beneath the surface. Then nothing. Just an eerie stillness on that spring morning. Not even the birds sang. I think they knew. Animals just know these things. I don't know how long I sat up in that tree just staring out over the water where that horse had vanished into the murk. I don't know what became of those kids, but I know they were never found and that they never will be. It was written off as an accidental drowning. Their parents beat themselves up over just as any parent would. Nothing like this had ever happened before in our little community. Kids who grew up around the lake pretty much knew how to swim by the time they could walk, and they knew to be careful by the water. It didn't add up, of course, and beyond that, no one could explain it. I think the parents cling to the hope that their children simply ran away or were kidnapped, so that they might one day find them again, and I can't blame them for that. I never told anyone what I saw. No one would have believed me anyway. Except for a few ancient crones nobody took seriously, who frequently babbled about ghosts and ghouls. It haunts me that I did nothing, and that simply watched as those innocent children were pulled into a watery grave. I never went into the lake after that. To anyone that asked, I simply said that I didn't like the way the smell of the lake water clung to me. I didn't think I ever tell this story. But I live in this town over a decade later. And last night, I saw a dapple gray horse stalking along the lakeside.
Yo. What the fuck?
That was a good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy. It's so eerie.
Yeah.
That's an eerie one.
It like reminds me of the monsters that you see like in The Witcher and things like that. Like
Exactly.
that kind of lore.
You
like
even
that's-
said crones,
Yeah, crones,
Okay.
yeah.
which is a big part of The Witcher 3. And I
Yeah,
was
and you know
like,
what? Now that I think about The Witcher, most of The Witcher's monsters are from like,
Yes, yeah, the lore from England and stuff.
Yeah,
like
that one got me today. I just found that one today.
really?
And I don't know. I feel like I've heard similar stories.
I've never heard anything like
Yeah,
that.
never.
Really?
Never heard anything
I've heard
where it, like,
I've
they got
heard
stuck.
I've heard stories of something luring people into water.
Yeah.
Before.
Sirens.
Yeah, like it's essentially.
Not yeah.
But those
yeah.
are the mermaids telling you, like, they're
Yeah,
whatever to come
and
with
like
me.
they're
This
like
isn't,
they're like conjuring you.
yeah,
like
but
with
this
their
is them
sounds.
willingly getting on, and then this thing changing
Right.
it to
Well,
where they couldn't escape.
Exactly,
Well, the horse,
yeah.
if you think about it, it's a pony. It's a siren for children. Like they're like,
Yeah.
I get
But-
to ride on the
okay,
pretty horse.
so-
like,
Also, I don't know, that I might have missed it. Did the parents just let them get on and go?
There were no parents.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the
so I didn't
thing.
hear that. I missed that.
Yeah,
then.
no,
Okay.
it was literally the person telling the story,
Uh-huh.
and those two kids were the only people like at that lake.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
in
I
that
thought the
location.
parents and the kids were together, and
No,
then they
no,
saw
no,
this
no.
horse and like, hey, get on this horse. What is the parent doing?
yeah, like why are they not realizing
Okay.
that the horse
Yeah,
is
no.
dragging them into the
That
lake
makes
right
sense.
now?
Yeah, because apparently to them, 8 and a 9-year-old just chilling at the lake.
If I saw a horse, bro, I'd go in. It was being friendly.
Oh yeah, dude.
Right?
I'd be
If I am,
like,
I'm
you
gonna
want
try
me
to
to
pet it."
ride you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like their I guess just their neighborhood,
Yeah.
or like wherever they live. They,
Yeah, and like village, like everybody knows
They're
everybody.
really-
They can
yeah.
trust their kids
Yeah.
being down there and
Yeah.
being taken care of. Like it's not.
But like
unheard
I
of.
think if that creature knew the person who watched it all was there, it would have never happened.
Ah, okay.
Like
Oh.
yeah,
he
because
got
he was high up in an oak tree.
Yeah, so he was
Yeah,
like
I-
scoping it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit. So maybe it's like that's what that creature does is lures children.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
okay. So it only comes around when the children are alone.
I mean,
that makes sense.
I want to keep it just as children. I think it lures
Whoever, yeah.
people who are alone at the lake.
Because I would definitely get on it.
Right now?
I'm not a child. Yeah.
What is dapple or doppel, whatever you said, gray? What, like, where would you put that?
Doppel gray. I would say probably like just a light
Okay.
gray.
I
So
almost-
it went from that to like
Yeah.
Black.
like black.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
That's so creepy.
like mud black.
yeah, like that detail to me. Well, it was so black that it was shiny.
Yeah.
Is what was weird.
Oh
To me.
yeah, like onyx.
Yeah. That was weird to me. And then that milky eyes and stuff. Like
Yeah,
the
like
detail
it
the
was
author of
dead.
that
Like
did very good.
it kind of
Yeah.
turned into like a plague horse, like from
Right.
like Sky or not Skyrim,
yeah.
Red Dead Redemption.
Shadowmare? Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
like
gave
the-
me Arvac vibes.
Oh yeah.
The ghost horse from
Yeah. There's
from
there's
the
Arvak and then there's
Skyrim underworld.
Shadowmare. I think is the other
Yeah.
one. The
I was,
Dark Brotherhood
yeah,
one.
I was just thinking of Atreyu the whole time from
Oh, yeah.
Neverending Story.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Atreyu, no. I'm gonna cry. Let's stop talking about it. That was a sad part.
That was a creepy one.
Dude, that was a good
one, yeah.
story. Really good
It's
story.
it's weird, the detail of them laughing and giggling, then realizing that these are not, like, it's screams now.
Yeah.
And that they can't get off. I wonder how. Like, I wonder if it's just like they had that same thing where they were frozen in fear, or if it was they physically were
like,
stuck.
if the
off,
horse could change its like color, it probably changed its like what it's made, its anatomy itself. Like,
that's interesting. Yeah.
maybe like it became like a
Sticky or like
or like you said, mud black.
yeah.
Like it became like, it became kind of like mud, like where it just like held on to them. That would make sense, dude. That's, man. Man, I like how you threw. So we picked aliens, and because they talked about aliens for a split second.
Well, not really, because that just happened to be in there.
Okay.
I just went and searched like cryptid stories.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't want to be like too far off and like have like a chilling ghost story and
Yeah, with
You know, yeah.
aliens.
I'm kind of sort of far off.
God damn it.
And it's also a short story, so it'll be.
I mean,
it'll be
granted,
nice little in
it
between.
was kind of like I was the one that was like, "Oh, I want that," so it could just be mine. It's no big deal. It ain't no thing. It doesn't have to be like a theme for through everybody, every episode. I kind of like that. There's like different.
Yeah, the variety.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah,
main thing.
like it gives for like an interesting listen. Even though the last episode with the Shadow People was fun.
I think
like-
when we're
Yeah.
all in agreement upon it,
Yeah.
and we're all excited about it.
Yeah.
Then definitely, that's the way to go.
So who's next? You're
Yeah,
going next.
I'll go next, and I do want to follow up on that, on like being excited for Shadow People.
Uh-huh.
Aliens, for whatever reason, don't scare me. Like I don't
Really?
get scared of the thought of aliens.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe I can
I'm
change
kind
that.
of in the same
Maybe
boat.
you can.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
Like it's not
Let it-
something that's outright creepy to me.
But what if it's a story from someone that you know?
Well, yeah, I mean that's the point of
Okay.
it, is to try to get me.
Okay.
But like just to preface it, is like it's just, I don't know, the maybe it's the movies and stuff I watch that are like, everybody that's talking about it are always portrayed as crazy and like
Yeah,
all
like
these
the
things. So like,
aliens guy.
I
yeah.
personally
Tin hat.
think that aliens that would look more similar to humans are more terrifying than
yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
because that
Like little
almost goes
green
to
men.
like the uncanny valley kind of
Hey.
thing. I did it right that time.
Hey,
You were like waiting for me to say
Progress.
Silicon Valley. I've been listening to our stuff enough to like, all right, it's Uncanny Valley, not
Yeah.
Silicon Valley.
You got it.
I know. I'm learning. You can never stop learning. So, all right, you said it's a short one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fairly short one.
Okay, cool. Because mine is very. I am so bad about going informative with things, and then it's like the history of what I'm talking about, and then the story.
I personally like that. I like the setup, like give me a setting and a location and all this stuff, and that it helps. But also, on the other hand, when I get stories like I'm about to read, it's just you're in it, and like we're in this
all
world
right, let's
now.
get in it. I'm excited.
Let me actually check up on the name of this one. Forgot to write that down.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, ready? This one is going to be off of Creepypasta called Distorted Warning Signals.
Already creepy.
When I got the first one, I was literally seconds away from stepping onto the plane when a call from unknown blared from my cell phone. It was a ringtone I haven't heard before.
I'm not okay.
One, I was pretty sure it hadn't come with the phone. Normally,
yeah,
I
that
wouldn't
doesn't
have.
come with the
It
phone.
doesn't come with the. Normally, I would have stopped to answer it, but I was expecting a call about a job. I wouldn't have stopped to answer it, but I was expecting a call about a job I had interviewed for the previous past week. I took a deep breath and it accepted the call. Hello? Do not get on the plane. A woman's voice gargled and strange, as if her vocal cords had been shredded, and she was trying desperately to choke out the speech. Despite the unnerving, fractured quality of her voice, her tone was insistent, eerily, and calm. Then the call ended. I froze. I had always had a slight phobia of air travel, and something about this call was just, there's no way I was about to get on a 7-hour flight now after that call. I turned around and headed towards the food court. I'd just get another flight in the afternoon, I figured. I watched from the airport Starbucks 3 hours later as every TV in the terminal lit up with the crash footage of the plane I should have been on. No survivors. Not a single one. I had to trace the call. So did the police. But there was nothing to trace. There was no evidence the phone had ever received a call around that time. They analyzed phone records, incoming, outgoing, communication to my phone, nothing. I wasn't making it up. I couldn't have been. That wasn't the only call. Throughout the years, there were a few and far between, but always happened, and I always listened. Do not go on that blind date tonight. 5 months later, my would-be date was convicted of killing 4 women.
Damn it.
All with my hair color and build. Found them in a shallow grave about 250 feet from the diner he offered to take me to. Do not drive to that concert tonight. 18-wheeler. Lost control and plowed into a line of cars. Every driver
Shit.
crushed. Every driver killed. No matter if I got a new phone or if I moved across the country, calls would still come. I almost felt this presence of whatever it was, whatever it is, it's watching over me. I imagined being at the bottom of a freezing ocean, still trapped to my coach section seat of the plane or car that had been in a mass grave, or in a mass grave next to a diner, or watching 18-wheelers skidding towards me, knowing death was imminent and that I'd get a tightness in my chest. I'd think about how thin that line was, how close I'd gotten. If I didn't have a job interview that I was waiting to hear back from, I'd have never listened to that call, and that would be it for me. I always felt that something was coming for me, but there was always this fractured, warped voice with these calls that never seemed to exist after I heard them. Self-destructing warning signals rotting away before my eyes, and I was alive. I had a bad feeling about this cruise. I had planned it as a girls' week out with some of my old friends from college, and I was looking forward to a week in the tropics in the dead of winter. But part of me could almost sense that the call was coming. Maybe I'd watched the Titanic one too many times, and there was a little nagging fear from the start. I hoped it would be fine, but I knew that something was going to happen. I'd get the call, I know. Now, a week before I'm set to go on the cruise, after stepping into my apartment after returning from dinner with a friend, I noticed that cell has message from unknown. They never left a message before, and I haven't checked it all night. And I really wanted to go on that cruise too. Oh well, it's not worth the horrific fate awaiting me in that cold, dark ocean. I clicked play message and feel my stomach drop as I listen to the voice, sounding horrifically distorted, as if it emanates from throat slashed and ribbons, crackling with more urgency than ever before. I look around my apartment as the voice on my phone repeats the same phrase over and over again. Do not come home tonight after dinner. Do not come home tonight after dinner. Do not come home tonight after dinner. That is my story.
Dude, no. No, something.
Bug.
Okay. Oh, shit. Oh.
Chill, Josh.
Oh, no. That story fucked me up.
That one was a struggle for me to read, I'm going to be honest.
I got goosebumps, and then the bug hit the fucking thing.
I heard it. I heard a little, and I heard the, or I saw the bug fly down from the flag up there.
that was good.
Yeah, that was
It's like Final Destination, kind of.
Yeah.
Only it's not like a dream or a vision.
that
it's
one.
Just your
That
phone.
one got me because that's similar to fucking headlights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is similar. And when I first read it, I thought like alien. I don't know, like the all-knowing. But why would it pick this one person? What is it about this person?
True.
Or
I mean-
is it a relative? Or is it?
I was
just, I don't know.
thinking it might have been future that person.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Or like I actually listened to a story one time where it was talking about
Well,
how
that wouldn't make sense because they would have died like in the first one. if it was like the future person.
But that's the
No,
thing
they-
is that they ignored the call. Maybe in one of the
No,
universes, if you
he's
go that
saying
route,
for
in one of
them
the
to-
universes, they made it, and they're trying to warn the other one that needed to live, but it didn't work
Okay,
this
so
time.
like a
That's a
multiverse
fucking-
kind of thing.
that's
That's
a-
cool.
it's a-
That's a multiverse
It's
thing.
a fucking good Leo movie plot right there.
But the thing that it was a story that I heard where like there were these beings that would make simulations or whatever, and that was kind of like their way of fucking with the simulation to see if things would change.
Yeah.
It's like we would think it's this unknown caller saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, don't do that," and then really what it is them just taking something out of the equation, and they got to have a reason for that person to not go through with what they programmed, so they add in like a little It
What
was a
y'all-
super in-depth, weird story.
What y'all
but,
think about simulations?
Oh God.
Y'all think
Okay,
there's
so
fucking
my
NPCs out there.
Oh yeah.
There's got to be NPCs out there.
I'm an NPC.
I've
There's
mentioned
n-
it to Colby, like when
like-
I'm doing Dynamo games and stuff, and I'm sitting there,
Exactly. Like,
and there's thousands of people.
that's not even a lot of people
Yeah.
though. Like,
Yeah.
like Dallas Cowboy Stadium is like
Exactly, yeah.
100,000.
Like if you think about it, like if you're in the middle, like especially when you're on the field, it's a different feeling. Because even when I'm doing stuff for Dynamo and I'm on the field and looking out to however many thousand, like say how many, like 13,000 on a bad night, something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, roughly, it's anywhere from 15 to
Something
20.
like that. It's a lot of people, and I just look around. I'm like, every single one of you is real.
Like,
you
there's
all have
no
lives,
fucking
you
way.
all
Okay,
gotta
that's
go do
creepy.
stuff.
There's
and-
no way.
I don't like that.
Dude, like I think about this often.
That's like the same concept of one story's got to be true.
Dude, like if
Yeah.
if we
Same
ever
concept.
get big enough to play in front of like thousands of people, I'm gonna go on stage and freak the fuck out. You know,
Just ask them.
I'm gonna be like,
All you
y'all
gotta do is
aren't all
ask
real.
them. Just say, are all of y'all real? And then if they like trip out and have some weird, the code messes up, yeah, then we know. Then that's it.
I'm gonna do that. It's gonna
You
happen.
say, "Are all of y'all real?" And then a fucking fight breaks out like at the bar.
Fucking 10 years from now, we're gonna be out in 10,000 people, and I'm gonna go, "Are y'all real?" And I'm gonna turn and I'm gonna look at all y'all in the eye as people start glitching out and disappearing in the crowd. Oh man, that would be our luck. It's like, oh, we're finally playing in front of all these people, and then they're not fucking real.
I just looked up the quote to make sure I was right, but that was Descartes. His argument against that is, I think, therefore I am. So if you can think that you are a being, then you are a being.
Oh, that's interesting.
So that's maybe a little solace for
Okay,
you.
there you go. There's solace. Okay, so I actually did an alien story. Okay,
Yeah.
the alien story actually hits close to home because it's from my wife. So essentially, she had this thing happen to her, and for the this happened when she was like maybe 10 years old, and for the longest time, she like described this situation and what this being looked like and everything, and she never saw, like people like will draw aliens.
Yeah,
You got like the Greys, you got like tentacle alien, you got all these different things,
Yeah.
right? Well, she had never seen anyone draw what she saw. And then one day, literally talking to me about the story, she looked it up and she found the exactly what it looked like. And
That right
I
there
will
got me.
never ever forget how she was like,
Yeah, the fear.
like the look in her face. She was like, "That's it, like that's it right there." And like it was so genuine that like I got goosebumps already. It was
Yeah,
so
you got me.
genuine. I was
Like,
like, "Holy shit!"
Wait, so run that back. You said that it was a personal like
Encounter.
happening,
Yes,
and,
this happened
and she
to her.
saw like an image of.
Of what she
What-
saw. Like she had never seen it before. And then literally a couple of years ago when she was telling this story to me, she finally found the picture and she was like, "That's it. That's it." And like just like the way like it just
Do you have the picture to post later?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Okay, so what the picture of was a reconstruction of a skull found in Chihuahua, Mexico.
Chihuahua.
It's called the Starchild. And that's what my story is about. The Starchild and
Gene Simmons.
No. Yeah. No, the Starchild and my wife meeting one as a kid. Okay, you can All right. So what I'm going to start with is information and then get to the story. All right.
Perfect.
In the 1930s, in a small rural village 100 miles southwest of Chihuahua, Mexico, at the back of a mine tunnel, two mysterious remains were found, a complete human skeleton and a smaller, malformed skeleton. In late February of 1999, Lloyd Pye was first shown the Starchild skull by its owner, nameless. They don't want their name to be out there. It was a highly anomalous skull. He initially felt it would prove to be a rare genetic deformity of some kind that hadn't been discovered yet. All right, so back to the skull. The skull symmetry was astonishing, even more so than the average human. In fact, all of its bones, most of which had human counterparts, were beautifully shaped. But shaped like what? Solving many questions that this unusual skull presented became Lloyd Pye's like mission. And so he really dove into this, like taking it to different specialists, experts, all you name it. All right, so here. 80 plus years ago, an American girl of Mexican heritage in her late teens, 15 to 18, was taken by her parents to visit relatives living in a small rural village 100 miles southwest of Chihuahua, Mexico. The girl was forbidden to enter any of the area's numerous caves and mine tunnels, but like most teenagers, she went exploring. At the back of a mine, she found a complete human skeleton lying on the ground surface. Beside it, sticking up out of the ground, was a malformed skeleton hand entwined in one of the human skeleton's upper arms, like it was like holding on to the arm. The girl proceeds to scrape the dirt off a shallow grave to reveal a buried skeleton smaller than a human one and also malformed. She didn't specify the type of degree of any of the malformations. The girl recovered both skulls and kept them for the remainder of her life. Upon her death, they were passed to an American man who maintained possession for 5 years before passing them on to the American couple that now controls them. Judging by the size of the teeth recovered from the detached jaw of the Starchild skull, tells people that the Starchild was around 5 years of age. Now you need to remember certain things like the age, the fact that the hand was above the ground. Those will come back around later. Tooth wear of the human skull suggests age at death was around 25 plus or minus 5 years, and it was the skull of a female, judging by the size of it. So remember all of that. From the symmetry of the Starchild skull to the density of the bones, they just don't add up to being anything completely human. Experts have suggested multiple rare diseases that can cause children to have enlarged skulls, and they also suggested things like binding, which was a practice done back in the day to help with enlargement of the skulls, but there is no proof of binding whatsoever. The skull would be shaped a certain way because you're trying to control how it is. You know, back then, like in the before, you know, normal medicine and all of that, they felt that would help, and it did to an extent, but not so much. The eye sockets are perfect yet smaller than average, and if it were a genetic malformation, things wouldn't be symmetrical. Like one would be a little bigger or smaller, things like that. They would be all out of whack. The list goes on with interesting and weird things about the Starchild skull that just doesn't point it to being a malformation because of disease. Even though science experts say it was just that. They're like, no, this is just a... matter of fact, my wife's disease that she has now can cause that in children. So like it's called water on the brain. Mm-hmm. That was one of the main ones that they were like, oh, it was just a child that had water on the brain. Huh. But they actually show, if you look it up, they show a child that has that, like their skull, and then it shows the Starchild skull, and you can tell that there's like, it's just shaped different. It doesn't make sense. Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Many abductees and contactees allege that aliens, most often greys, are conducting genetic experiments that produce hybrids between themselves and humans. The result of these unions are consistently described as looking for more human than alien, or they are looking for more human than alien, but with stark bulges and parietal bones, shallow eye sockets, a greatly reduced lower face, a thin neck able to easily support a well-balanced head, and ears seen as markedly lower and smaller, so their ears are like kind of more towards their jawline. Like they just look a little not uncanny valley. Yeah. There are also legends of this in folklore of the area where the skull was found, about aliens coming and making these human hybrids, and here are the legends. These are all well-known, well-regarded legends with roots spreading throughout Central and South America, where the skull was found. They are pervasive and long-standing, 2 centuries or more, and in general state that on a regular basis, star beings come down from the heavens and impregnate females in the remote isolated villages. The women carry their star children to term, then raise them to the age of 5 or 6. At that point, the star beings return to collect their progeny and remove them to place and for purpose not clearly outlined in the legends, though improving a stagnant gene pool is often mentioned as motivation. So essentially, they're trying to keep their race alive doing this. Many intuitives and sensitives feel the adult skeleton was a female and the child was hers, a human-alien hybrid created by a union between her and a star being. Some feel the mother had learned the star beings were returning to take the child away from her, which she refused to contemplate. Panic-stricken and filled with dread, she took her child and fled her village, seeking refuge in the hidden mine tunnel. There she killed it and buried it in a shallow grave, leaving one of its hands out into the ground so she could hold on to it while she poisoned herself and died alongside of it.
Wow.
Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, one, the child's age is confirmed by, testing and everything else. With all that said, my wife firmly believes she met a star child when she was about 10 years old and was met in a vivid dream from possibly a star being telling her of their arrival 100 years. Wait, make that 80 years from now. Yeah. I don't know if y'all remember the last podcast when we were streaming and we picked up aliens. She made sure to say in the chat, "Oh, they'll be here in 80 years." Because, yeah, that was when she was 10 and she's 30 now. Yeah. All right, here's what happened to her. One night when my wife was sleeping in her brother's room, she slept on the bottom bunk of her and her brother's bunk bed. She awoke seeing this weird and small humanoid-looking figure watching her sleep. Scared and also not knowing what to do, she scooted her legs up so she couldn't see it anymore and ended up falling back asleep. Like, it was kind of like she was like you, like, nope, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How she accomplished that, I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. But she has never forgotten that incident. Shortly after the encounter, she had a very vivid dream one night. She saw scenes of destruction and what looked like an invasion from the sky. Then a different looking being told her that in 100 years' time, they would come to Earth. She also stated that the whole time this was happening, she could feel needles being poked into her arms and all over her body.
Nope.
Not in the dream, but in real life. Like, she, What's a little more freaky is this all happened a year or two before the man who we talked about earlier found the Starchild skull and dedicated his life to figuring out all that stuff. Was this possibly... was she possibly watched by a Starchild? Maybe it was hiding from being taken and on the run. Maybe the star beings felt compelled to explain to at least one human what they had planned for our future. I guess we'll have to find out in 80 years or so.
I don't wanna.
That's
a good story.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I got all of my information. Apologies. I got all my information from the AILEINS.com/the Starchild skull.
I am very, very curious to see what this looks like.
Oh, you guys want to see it?
Because I have a very specific image in my head, and I was worried that with aliens, I wasn't going to be able to make a pop culture reference. I feel like I have to do it now.
Okay. So this was the picture that she saw. She saved it. As soon as she saw it, she saved it. But that's what she saw.
Oh my god!
Ooh.
This is, and if you look right here, we will definitely put this up on the Instagram.
You gotta describe it.
So essentially, it is a extremely Megamind.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Like just that big of a skull and tiny black eyes, and like the like from the eyes down, it just seems to shrink.
The way that picture is, like, I don't know. It could be. I don't know if it's the lighting or just the way they like set it up, but it looks like the meme of the like lemur thing, just like what?
With the thing in
Like
the
how the
chair.
eyes are.
Yeah.
it's funny.
I'd
And then
I'd
the
like
other
to
one
see a
is the
side profile picture of it.
yeah, they don't have one on there, but yeah, that's the skull. That's what the skull looked like.
Yeah.
But
That's very interesting. And
Yeah.
the ear placement is really weird. It's almost like amphibious.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really low.
They described a lot more. I didn't go into as much detail about the skull, but one of the things that they said was, okay, so like where the ears are, how far it goes down is like way past an adult. So like if it was a 5-year-old, it wouldn't be that like anywhere near there, but it went past an adult. as far as like how far the ear canal
Okay.
went in and all of that stuff. And another thing that they talked about was the neck, how the neck was shaped. It was like super. It was like past an adult. I can't remember how they explained it. Like it just didn't make sense. Everything about it didn't make sense. They tried like the binding thing. They were talking about how like it causes a soft spot in the head that never goes away.
Yeah.
Even if they survive and they end up living, like
Yeah.
they'll always have like a soft spot where the binding's at. That wasn't there. Also, the space in the skull, like what, like basically like a child has like 1600 something, an adult has 1200. So
Okay.
our brain
Yeah.
kind of shrinks, and our skull thickens. This one was 1800, but the skull density was more. So like it had the skull, the like density and weight and everything was like of a human adult, and then but like it was just all of it was all like
So
out of whack. And-
the thing that I was thinking of when I was imagining this, because it would have been very different if you would have showed me the picture first, and I'm glad you didn't, because I had this image all the way through, and it's from Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you know what
Like,
that one
oh,
looks
the
like.
skull?
Yeah, like that
Yeah,
skull, and then
yeah.
at the end of the movie, you get to see the alien. It doesn't look like that at all, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they got it from that specific being.
Right.
oh, really?
Because the skulls that they find are elongated.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they do all this research where they're like, it's this being from forever ago that and they talk about similar things that you were mentioning. So
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'm pretty
Ashley has
sh-
seen it or not, but I think
No,
she
I
should.
don't
Yeah.
think so.
Did you find anything about Coneheads?
No, I did not.
Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that movie's based off of that.
One thing that I
Because I know that they said that the movie was based off of what they are like a tribe that actually like changed the shape of their head.
oh shit, that's
with,
weird
like-
with binding or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So one of the things is they tested to see how old the bones were. They were 900 years old.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. They're already considered ancient after 50.
Yes.
And so, and they also tested like DNA, what they could, and they found like the chromosomes were weird or something. I can't remember. Like,
the detail that I really liked is the perfectness. That,
Yeah.
like that it's everything's symmetrical. Everything is in the ideal place. So like in God's creation.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like that's again to the movie is like they are the perfect being. Everything is exactly as how it should be.
Yeah.
The eyes are the right size. The ears are in the right place. Like
Yeah.
in the optimal being
yeah,
body.
yeah.
So it's-
We're not optimal.
Exactly.
They are
Yeah,
optimal.
we're
We're a
flawed.
mess up.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
that's
flawed.
the idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
One quick question: Does this? Do you recognize this? Or this?
What is that?
Or this?
He's been trying so hard.
He's trying so hard. That's your daughter, bro.
No shit. The daddy, like, so
And
my
then this is, and then
that's my wife.
Yeah.
So the daddy, when you did it, it did kind of like it like sparked my parental like shit for a second, and I was like, oh
you're
no,
like,
it's
oh
just,
no, there's
yeah.
no way he got
That's crazy. How do you
my
even do
daughter to
that?
record. No, I just messaged
Ashley.
Vix.
She was like, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Good job. Yeah, she totally played that off. She didn't let me know anything
No,
about
she's,
that.
She's always down to scare the shit
I
out
know,
of you.
dude. She is. She really
But-
is. But yeah, that's the
was a
story,
good one.
man.
So-
Yeah.
What you didn't realize is I snuck those in to one of the tracks last episode, but it
Oh,
was like
shit.
it was like really hard to hear.
Yeah, if you go back and
damn.
listen, like
Yeah.
really listen, you'll be able to hear it. Like whenever Kyle got scared,
Uh-huh.
whenever it said his name, it also said all of our names.
Yeah.
But we didn't hear it.
What? That's so good. Hell yeah, dude. I like
There's
that.
different moments in there that we
I
just
like
didn't catch.
that, dude. That's fucking nuts. But
But,
yeah,
okay. Very good story. Still, it didn't
didn't get you?
get me. Yeah.
Damn
I don't know
it.
what it is. I wonder if it's because it's too far fetched.
Yeah.
Like,
What do you mean?
as in like it's the outer space stuff. It's like it's so out there.
It's so science fiction.
It's so sci-fi that it doesn't hit home because
And
I've seen
I think
shadow
that's
people,
because
you know?
media.
Yeah.
I think that's because media has
It
done that
could
to
be.
us.
Yeah, it
And
could
you know
be.
what? And maybe for me, like I've seen so many UFOs and like unexplained like flying objects like
See, I
in
haven't.
my life that maybe that's why I'm just so accepting of being like, yeah, they gotta be coming down here and shoving probes up our
Yeah.
asses. Like, you know, it's like it has to be a thing.
I
It has to be a
just
thing.
got a recollection of an alien story that is actually fucking terrifying.
Of like a personal encounter?
No, of like a story I've heard before.
Okay. Do you know it well enough to be able to repeat it, or
Yeah.
do you want to,
I mean, I could give you a synopsis.
if you'd like to?
Yeah, go for it.
So don't know what it. I want to say rural America,
Yeah.
in like
Roswell.
80s.
Okay.
like yeah, no, probably like Kentucky or some shit.
Yeah, yeah. Somewhere there's a farmer that saw it.
Yeah. I would say probably 80s, maybe early 90s.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if this was actual like a movie or like a TV show that I saw or if it was a story I heard. But essentially, you know how they have those old bridges that have roofs over them?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just old wooden bridges with a roof. And like some of them are like fully enclosed like a barn.
Yeah.
So the person had driven through the bridge, like to the other side of the river or whatever they were crossing, and they went into the bridge. It's weird to say that, but they went into the bridge and didn't see anything. They came out on the other side of the bridge, daylight,
Okay.
because like there's so much light from a spaceship.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
from a UFO.
shit.
Okay, that's different. My mind went somewhere else.
Like it was like a portal or something.
Like it looked like it was daylight.
Yeah.
Oh, this might be that story that you're thinking of, where like time like eluded them
Oh, okay, yeah.
and like it was like
That's-
hours later.
That's what the scariest thing about me, aliens for me, is loss of time.
Yeah,
Is like
Yeah.
just, you don't know what happened.
but essentially they came out the other side and there was something that they saw, and next thing they knew they were on the side of the road, like a couple like 100 feet away from where they just were, like in an instant, but it had been like 6 or 7 hours later.
Dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's like that. That reminds me of that couple that was driving
And
down
they
the.
they woke up like
Yeah, they're-
in their car.
Yeah, there was like a couple that was driving down the road and they were out in the middle of nowhere, and then they woke up and they were like, what, a few hours away
Yeah,
or
hours.
something.
Sarah, was that on Scared to Death?
There
I
was
think
there
so.
was a scared to death story. It might have been yours, where it was like the devil's playground or like
Yeah.
circle, like where it was an area that had been marked, and they went there and they're like, we're gonna camp on it,
Yeah.
like just to say screw you. And they camped on it, and then they woke up miles away,
Ooh,
and they started like running to get back because they thought they were close, and they spent hours and hours, and eventually they got picked up by somebody on the road that they found, and they were like, you're like 6 hours away from your campground, dude.
It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. There's no way that they could have
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck that. Fuck.
But that's
that.
that's the thing about aliens that gets me, is the just like not knowing what happened.
Have you
know?
seen The Fourth Kind?
I have not.
Okay,
No.
well that's based on like actual happenings in Alaska where all these people kept like disappearing and shit.
Okay.
And it turns out that it was like they think it was aliens. Like there was like a doctor that would put people under therapy, and that's where you get the owls thing from, where
Yeah.
their mind would replace like seeing a gray with seeing an owl because they both have the big eyes, and that's like kind of like where like that's how they processed it. But really, it was alien abductions. They'd be like when she would put them under, they'd be like, I see an owl. The owl's coming, like, and then they would start
Yeah.
to freak out and get scared, and it was because like the owl was
interesting.
actually like an alien.
There
So,
was-
what is a gray? And you
The
said
grays
that a few
are
times.
the grays are the normal like picture of an alien: big head, big old black eyes, short,
Okay.
like
They're called grays.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
call them the
I didn't know
grays.
that.
You never,
I've never
I
heard
You
thought
ever
you were
seen
just
Paul?
like asking that for the
Yeah.
pod.
Yeah, that he's a gray.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's like
like
what
just
they look
your
like.
typical,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
like,
The TV version.
because
Yeah.
like, well, they were only called little green men because some artist like made what a gray looked like and colored him green.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. This is how little I know about aliens. My only experience with it is Indiana Jones, and I was like, that thing's cool.
We need to post my picture at the UFO museum.
Yeah, we'll
on-
put that with the. Yeah, that's totally.
I've been to Roswell. Not that cool.
You know what?
No,
My
I went
mom-
to the Alien Ufo Museum, and then I also went to another like couple shops that sold a bunch of just
Yeah. Weird
very
shit.
very like low quality,
Low quality but
like
overpriced.
yeah, exactly. And but no, the
Tourist
UFO
stuff.
museum was really interesting.
My mom has a story about when she was married to my brother's dad. They went on their honeymoon, and they went to New Mexico, and they were driving down one of those like mountain hill things, and they don't have guardrails.
Yeah, they don't.
And like that, they were actually in one of the areas where the hot spots were. I think that they were actually going to try and see UFOs.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're driving down this in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, all the electronics on the car stop, including the headlights, and they had to try and get down. They were up high. They were trying to like get down this thing, like without a guardrail, just trying to like coast down.
Yeah.
And then eventually they made it to a certain point, and the car kicked back on, and she was like, "I'm pretty sure it was." Something fucking weird, like yeah,
I'd be interested if she can remember that, because I've had that thing happen to me exactly.
where your all your electronics
Everything.
just
So,
cut
but
out.
but there was a reason. We were driving, going exiting. We were exiting. As the turn happened, we were turning right, and I guess the force knocked the battery out, and the battery hit the belt. All the electronics cut out, and we drifted down to the ramp, like the end of the exit. And then it cut back on. We drove to a mechanic shop, and then they took it out.
I wonder if that's what happened.
And then they
because-
took it out, and there was a chunk missing out of the battery. It was leaking battery acid everywhere.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
What?
Yeah, because it hit the belt. It hit the belt
Yeah.
of the car.
Oh,
The serpentine
shit.
belt.
Took a chunk out of it.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
But somehow still kicked back on for us to get back to.
I mean, it just needed a little bit of juice to get you to where you were
Yeah.
going.
So yeah, I'd be interested if she can remember if
I'll
they
ask
did
her.
that.
Do you
I'll ask
know the events of Roswell didn't actually happen in Roswell?
Where did it happen?
Like fucking 10 miles away from it.
Oh yeah, but it's still considered
was
like
ideal.
Roswell, New Mexico, or whatever.
Yeah, I know they had other instances happen in other towns
Yeah.
around it, and like all of it was very very fast to be covered up.
Yeah.
and like explained as like weather balloons and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. I mean, I get
That
it.
I think the government cover up of alien shit scares me more than actual aliens.
Me too. Like it's
Because like I've seen the whole Bob Lazar documentaries, and
oh yeah,
if y'all
I
haven't
remember-
seen that, check out Bob Lazar on
Yeah, Colby made me sit and watch it. It was
Netflix.
very interesting. It was very interesting, like thing. There's also like the Skinwalker thing where they think it's aliens. It's like Skinwalker Ranch or whatever. But
Yep.
I mean, I've seen a couple of UFOs. Like I saw one that was a big one. Like think of this big.
You have a lot better stories than I do.
Yeah, like so a picture this big for viewers, like I don't know how to explain holding this up, like what it would be the size of. But like if you extend your
To
hand
you,
out
what
about a
did what did
foot-
you think it was when you saw it?
I thought it was a UFO right away. No, like dude, like so it was a
Okay,
bright
but if you had to like chalk it up to something,
if a really really big spotlight was shining on the clouds and like the clouds were so close that it could make it like if you were to hold your hands up in this like above your head and spread your hands out about a foot and make a circle, like that's how big it was, but in the sky. And you could see that
Batman
the light
signal, no Batman logo.
Batman signal but bigger.
Gotcha.
That's a good way to put it. Thank you for that. But the crazy thing was the light was shining through the clouds. Like you could see beams piercing through the clouds
Like
like
God
sun
rays,
rays.
yeah.
Going through the clouds. And my brother was
How high were the clouds?
they're pretty high.
Like just like a normal.
It was just normal like cloudy
everyday?
day, but it was at nighttime.
Yeah.
Tanner was out there with me when this happened, and I was on the phone with my old bandmate, my old bass player, actually, Jason. Shout out, Jason. Anyway, and I was talking to him about something, and I like just looked up, and there it was. Like it was like it turned on. It was like, whoop. Like it didn't make a noise, but it just went.
Fuck was that?
What was that?
Did
What?
you hit something?
No.
Did you put your foot down?
No,
What?
I'm not playing today.
What?
I heard
what?
we both heard a thump.
Yeah.
Like
Where?
it sounded like you
It sounded
closed
like
the
it was
drawer.
right here. No, the drawer's closed.
Yeah, but it sounded like you closed the drawer. It sounded exactly like that.
It sounded like
Did you bump it? Maybe.
oh.
It wasn't as intense as
I
that.
heard it over like I thought I heard it over here. Well, I thought I heard it at Josh's foot because like that's the only place the noise could come from. But I want to say it was to the right of me. But yep,
Okay. Well,
continue.
Jesus Christ, the candle blew out too. Did that
Yeah.
happen when the
No,
candle blew
that's
out?
been out for a
Okay.
little while.
Okay,
'cause I was thinking about
I also
touching it.
wanted to add, why did that go down so fast?
But the
when
one
we
before-
still
It's
have
just that one.
Hey, I also want to point out though that this one was when you were talking about how the energy was in the room, and now the energy's different, and that.
Oh, that's true.
Oh fuck me!
So for listeners and people that have not tuned in the previous episode, I was talking about how the energy just didn't feel as
we need it like that.
weird. I think we leave it. I think out of respect for the ghost that didn't
Yeah.
want it burnt all the way, we'll keep
I'm
adding.
not touching that.
Well, see,
so-
that's the thing. It was we didn't have any weird feelings. That's Josh.
Dude, yeah, that one was
Stop
you.
fucking tapping your shit.
You're jittering. Okay, you get me. Okay, so listeners, let me finish this real quick. The candle is halfway burnt, and it's burning slow. So we've done 4 now. Each one, including the one for this episode, has already gone out. It's a
Yeah.
puddle of wax currently.
Yeah.
And the one from last episode, where I said the energy just isn't as weird today. It feels like there's nothing. It has not burnt out.
And that was our longest episode.
That was the longest. Oh my god, that
That
was
was
the
our
longest
longest.
episode.
Yeah, we're only an hour
that's
in
why,
right now.
That's why I asked, because, yeah, that shit burnt down real quick.
Dude, I don't like that at
But
all.
I'm gonna assume that candle was just tightly packed. All the wax in there was just
Yeah,
really
because that's
good.
a thing. That's
and I'm going
totally
to
a thing.
assume that sound was just me and Caleb hearing our
I didn't hear
thoughts.
it, but I'm the deaf one, so I don't know.
That's true. Whenever you go through and edit, listen for that because I don't know, man. I thought it was you, but you didn't make any movements.
Yeah, no, I was perfectly still. And I was like,
I mean, I guess double check me. I don't like if this is me, like moving my legs
No,
around.
it was-
It sounded like something went.
you can't
if
talk.
you-
You didn't hear it.
No, but he did the drawer. You said it sounded like the drawer, right?
It sounded like the drawer closing exactly like that.
Do you think you could have like bumped
I mean,
it?
it's possible, but I didn't do it on purpose. if that's what it was.
I don't know. Anyways, so back to the UFO thing.
Yeah.
So this light appears. Hold your hands up above your head about a foot. That's about how big it was. Batman light. All right, we're back. Anyway, so it just turns on. Like it was like it expanded. Like it was like maybe it got close, you know? Like,
Okay.
So and it's there. And I'm watching it and I'm like freaking out and I'm telling Tanner, "Hey, you see this shit?" And he's like, "Yeah." And we're
That's
just
weird.
standing there like watching it, and it slowly, so like where we were at, we were in our front yard, and then you go across the street and then there's like a field and then there's like trees, so like pretty far out, but we're watching it and it moves slowly like that all the way down, and as soon as the tip of the circle hits the tree line, it like zooms past the tree line. Like you could see that it was like going like this, and it went and it just like took
Interesting.
off.
That's
And it
crazy.
wasn't like the trees blocked it. You would see that there was like if it was a light from the ground, you would see that it was like there'd be a shadow effect kind of to it.
Yeah.
Like it would slowly depicitate from how the tree line was. No, it was like it just went behind the tree line.
Wait a minute. What was that word?
Depicitate?
It's for sure not depicitate. Whatever it is, I can guarantee you
I don't know.
depicitate is not it.
I don't know.
I'm sure-
Disintegrate?
Disintegrate?
Maybe? I don't know what.
Dissipate.
Dissipate, yeah. Depicitate is.
That's a new shirt. no, that's a dad hat. Just depicitate.
With a question mark.
Okay, you
Upside
were,
down question mark.
what were you saying about it?
Well, so
Dissipating.
yeah, so it went behind the tree. It shot past behind the tree line, and it was gone. And like, the crazy thing is like shortly after that happened, we actually heard like sirens and stuff. Like
I gotta write that down.
like maybe other people saw it and they got into car accidents or
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like that. Like, and then another UFO story. This also happened with my brother. I don't know if we're just magnets for this shit, but we were driving out in the country heading to his dad's house actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the middle of the night, and we both just happened to like look up while we're driving, and this green light that is as green as the Xbox, you know, like when Xbox
Yeah.
turns on the green in the middle, it was that bright a green.
That fucking Xbox screen.
It was it just like it looked like it was the size of a meteor, like the light.
Yeah.
And it goes bing, 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 like it just like zigzag, 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 and then just went poof and like took off, but it went zigzag like one way, stopped, and then went through its zigzag the opposite direction.
This is interesting because you're seeing it.
Yeah.
If you would have said that you saw a video of this that looked really
No.
convincing, I would have been on the other
Yeah,
side
you'd have
because.
been
like,
So
this is firsthand.
I just recently watched. There's a YouTube channel called Corridor Digital, and they're VFX artists, and they have, I believe it's 2 episodes out where they go over UFO things, and they just talk about it. Like, this is, oh, you can do this with this kind of rendering. And like, this is how this thing, like, this is how you can make this bounce around like this. And they're like, oh wait, if you stop it right there, you can see where they didn't mask it correctly. And this is
Yeah.
this is
Oh
where
shit!
CG.
So they
They
like
debunk-
debunk it.
The
Yeah.
thing is that you saw it with your eyes. You
Yeah,
didn't see it
This
with
is
your
in
eyes.
the video.
literally, I slammed on my brakes, and Jimmy, who's like our stepbrother, like was in the back seat, and he like shoots up because he was sleeping. He's like, "Don't get out of the car!" Like it was like this whole thing because like I slammed on my brakes. And I'm like,
Stay
"Dino,
in
what
the
the
car."
fuck?" And he's just
Yeah.
like, "I don't know, man." And he was like kind of like acting like he was gonna get out to like look around.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just this whole thing, and then we just
Crazy.
we
I
went
only
on
have
our merry way.
one, and it's not even like it's more of a you story, Colby story, because
Yeah, he didn't see
I
it.
didn't.
Or no, you
I,
did see
I
it.
see it, but I like, again, me being me, I was like, well, I don't know.
That's not real.
Moving on.
Yeah, so we were just driving back from whatever the fuck. We do so much shit. We don't remember. But anyway, we were we were on what was that
609.
609 coming back, and 609 is a fairly straight like road,
Yeah.
and only
For a long way. Too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was just coming out of LaGrange, like you pass Walmart,
Yeah.
and it's just that straight shot. And anyway, I'm chilling, looking out the window, and I see what normally just looks like an airplane light.
Middle of the day.
Yeah, middle of the day.
It's a bright flashing, like not a strobing or anything. It's a solid
Yeah,
white light.
solid
from what I
light
remember.
sitting there, and it gets bigger.
Like
Like
it's
it's
just
like
like,
it's coming towards us.
Oh.
It's far. It's very far away. Like it's
Yeah.
in the sky, but like it got just a little bit bigger, and I was like, yeah, that's weird. You
Like
see
so
that?
it got that big, much bigger in a short amount of time with you looking at it.
Yeah, like
oh, that's moving
kind
fast. dude.
of like how, like if you put something into focus with a camera, like
yeah.
that's kind of how it just came into focus. And then I tell Caleb, he sees it, so we have 2 eyes on this thing. It was definitely there.
Yeah.
He's driving, by the way, so he can't stare at it.
Yeah. I would hope not.
Well, he could. But anyway, I stare at it, and it's there for a good minute and a half, 2 minutes. And we're fucking June bug.
Ooh, that one got me. Oh my god.
Because I looked at it and then it made sound.
Yeah. Oh, there's a little June bug that hit the table right next to us. I made a little tap, and I thought it was a ghost trying to get my attention.
But I'm looking at it, and it just gone.
So it's like you blinked and then it was out
No,
of,
I didn't even blink. I was watching it.
and it just
Like,
beep,
yeah.
out of existence.
Yep.
What the fuck?
So like there are explanations for that. It could have been a satellite.
Yeah.
It could have been. So what I think is even cooler than seeing a UFO or what could possibly be aliens is that the possibility of it being light from a star that had died. And like I'm witnessing
Oh,
like it
well,
happened
that's-
during daytime.
That's kind of sad.
Well, 'cause don't they
Well, I mean,
explode like
Yeah.
whenever they die?
No,
It's like,
but
Yeah,
so,
well, so they
emit a lot of light.
they do explode, and it would make sense why that light.
is it that bright? You'd be able to see it.
Oh yeah,
the expand the
crazy.
explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
If
But,
it was nighttime, it might have like lit up the whole sky.
okay,
like
but
that
here's my
they
counter
get that
to
bright.
that is why isn't that happening all the time?
Because
Well,
it takes like light
yeah,
years.
and
is,
there's
like,
also-
super far.
But there's also an infinite amount of stars.
Oh, he has
It
a
is.
point there.
Yeah, there is, but you also have an infinite amount of space for light to travel.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's what he was saying is like if it lights up the whole night sky.
Oh,
That's a paradox
The
because you have an
the
infinite
visible
amount of space. and
so
amount of-
Yeah.
so the visible light that we can observe, especially during the daytime, very tiny.
yeah.
Like the amount of like shit that we can actually see with our eyes. At night, it's only like a little bit bumped up by a couple multiple.
So we might not even
multipliers.
notice the change in the amount of like how much.
What I'm
brighter
saying
it
is like we only have a certain range of shit that we could see with our naked eye.
Oh.
Without telescopes.
Yeah.
Shit.
And so, like, it would make sense as to why it doesn't happen all the time, that we can't see it. It does happen all the time. That's
Just
the-
not.
You have
We're
to-
not always looking.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We did see another one on the way to the show actually yesterday. It was just a bright light that was in the sky, but I could see that it was a plane.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see it moving away from us and down over the skyline. Like I could see the wings on it and everything.
Oh,
but it
shit.
was the same brightness as that.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, so that's a good way to describe it is like a plane
A glint.
flying,
A
a
glint.
glint off
Yeah,
of
there
a
you go.
plane. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's
no,
crazy.
the crazy thing is just how fast it was gone.
Because I remember looking at it and then I went back to driving and then he was like, "It's gone."
And you're just like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I'm driving. That's what I said.
I'm driving. One cool thing is if you're out in the country, like far enough away from the city, you can actually see the satellites going by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
One of our
Yeah,
buddies, our
see,
good
I've
friends.
seen satellites before,
Yeah.
and like this thing was right there.
Way
So
brighter.
it had to be on like a fixed point and like moving with whatever its target was.
Yeah.
For it to like stay in the same area, but it's possible it was a satellite.
I'm gonna nerd out on cameras a little bit, but like I was just about to say, is one of our friends, Razan, who is also a photographer. He showed me how to do nighttime photography and stuff like that, and it's the coolest thing to me that you can take what's called a long exposure picture, where your shutter speed is really low, so it opens and closes very slowly, and if you have it long enough, you can see the streaks of the stars because the Earth is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
So you can see
fucking-
the
it's
you can see the
trippy.
streak of it, or like
Like-
on my 1DX and my giant lens, I can zoom in and all the way. I can lock my camera down, and if I leave it, I can see the moon moving out of frame.
Like
because we're moving. It's
without that
crazy to me.
knowledge, it just looks like you took a picture, moved,
Yeah,
but he had it on like a tripod.
That's cool.
yeah, it's very
shit.
cool. Yeah, I love the
Oh,
to be able
that's
to see
pretty
that.
neat.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. I like that. All
Should
right,
we
dude.
go into our chat segment?
I don't think we
We
have a
don't need to.
story.
Do you want to have anything?
Yeah.
I don't have one today.
Well, for future episodes, this is what it sounds like.
Ha!
Ah,
Psych.
And then we would talk to chat, or we would tell a fan story. I'm assuming
Yeah.
here, correct?
Yeah.
But since we don't have that, are we ready to draw for our next episode?
Oh, dude,
so.
let's go. Let's draw for the next episode. Do we have more now?
I drew last
no,
time.
this is
so
the same.
Oh,
Y'all go ahead.
I feel like this thing's producing new ones with Steve.
Okay, go ahead. We're drawing one from the thing
Oh,
that
one.
has yet to be named. Just one, not
It
8.
is one. You go ahead and draw.
Oh, hold it for me, please.
Yeah, because he can't do both. Okay. Did you just?
He did sniff it.
just
He did
fucking
indeed.
sniff. He
You
sniffed
can hear it without getting close to it. I am ready
God
to
damn.
reach. Okay.
This is interesting. I don't know what this means.
That's what it sounded like.
By the way, guys, we need to name the jar. So please, if you listen to this, send us some names.
The doppelganger?
It's Smiling Man.
Ooh.
Okay, he said, I got family story. What does that mean?
Okay, so when I wrote that one, like a family tale, like did you have a family ghost?
A family
I have
ghost?
a story. So like, okay, I think this is going to be better to have stories. Smiling Man would be better to have
Okay.
stories of.
That sounds like a
So-
good song title. Family
so-
Ghost.
family story. Basically, I can't remember the name of this ghost that we had, but in my grandparents' house, there was a ghost that they told us we had. And, like, he was like, if you don't go to bed by this time, he's going to get you. Or something like that. Is this not normal? Maybe this was just me. But Will, if you're listening, you remember this ghost that it was something with an E. It was like Edward or Edgar or something like that. And we would, like, freak ourselves out by, like, staying up. And, like, we would say, like, we heard this bump in the night. And, like, our grandpa...
Don't say it too loud, because that might be what's here.
It might be what's here. If you're chilling with us, then okay.
Your grandpa?
We would have something happen, and we'd be like, blah 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 happened. And our grandpa would be like, oh yeah, that's him. He's been active lately. But I'm fairly sure, because I know my grandpa, is that he was messing with us. But do y'all have, like, things like that where?
I feel like I do. I just can't remember. Do you have something? No. Oh, of course you don't have anything.
Like, as far as ghosts go, there's one thing that my sister did tell me one time, and that was when she so around the time that my parents split up, I was living with my mom and my grandmother at the time, and my sister had already, like, she went to college for like half a semester, came back, and went to Blinn, and she lived in the house that I'm in now before we renovated it. And so it was between the time that the owner, my great grandma, died, and the time that we renovated it.
Okay.
And she swears that she saw my great grandmother in the house, like, whenever she was living there.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have anything like that?
I don't
Family
think I
have
do.
seen other family like that?
Oh, have seen other family?
Yeah.
I mean, I told you about, like, my grandmother and, like, her, like, coming into my dreams and
Yeah.
stuff.
So that's kind of like a family story.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, my idea of that, like, when I wrote that down, I was like, it's like like an heirloom that your family has told this story.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, you know.
I
this
guess that was a
so-and-so.
more niche thing than I thought it was.
Dude,
I thought, like,
that's
everybody had, like, a
crazy.
family story.
If anybody that's listening or watching this, if you have some, like, family ghost stories, like,
Yeah, I'm sure other
Caleb
people do.
described,
Yeah.
please
We just
write them in
grew
the
up
comments
here,
and
so-
we'll read them out on the next episode.
I mean, you grew up here too, but
Look at
your half of your family isn't from this country,
Yeah.
so.
So Smiling Man, I have a personal thing that scares me the most. When I go to tell it, full body chills every time I, like, think about it.
Ooh, I love
And
it.
but I am interested. I would like for one of y'all to come up with
I can
find
do
a
it. I can
story,
do
a
it.
Smiling Man
Yeah,
story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can do that.
If
or-
y'all want to, if y'all want to do it,
if
not,
you want to do it, then that's
I'll
cool.
find a
just
short
find
one if you
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
find, like, a girthy one.
a girthy one.
I'm gonna find a large one as well, probably. But
You got a personal one.
but it's so quick. Like, when I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember me explaining it to you. It was in a car ride. Like,
write
it was.
it out, make it dramatized.
I tried. I tried whenever I sent it to Scared to Death, and I sent it as one of their, like, fan stories. They're like, "Oh, that's weird."
Oh, wait, they said it?
Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't read it. That's the thing. Is, like, it was scary to me, but it wasn't fleshed out enough to be a good story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Um,
They responded, though, and said, oh, that's weird.
yeah, I think they respond to all of them. They're like, "That's why I don't look into blah blah blah. If I don't want to give it away."
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And then there was a couple, like, the ones that got me the most on Scared to Death were those stories. There's two of them specifically that I can think of, which, I mean, I could talk about briefly, like you did a synopsis. The Smiling Man ones from Scared to Death. There was one where a man knocked on the door. Door opens.
Wait,
Oh, you got a creak as well. So door opens. This daughter answers to a man that has a smile too large, and he is, like, sweating, and he's, like, trembling, and he's, like, doesn't look right for his body, and he's saying things like, "Do you have the time?"
I remember.
And he's like, "Can you get me a water, like a glass of water?" And, like, weird things like, "Are your parents home? Do you have the time?" And then, like, just went away.
What the
And I was like,
fuck?
the other one that I can't remember it as well, because that one really got me, because I also have another story of, like, where a phone call went bad. and the voice coming through sounded like that.
Also, do you think you should describe Smiling Man for
the next episode? Yeah.
or just like
Or yeah, I'll talk
brief?
about it. It's so different, but yeah, I'll give a little thing about it. But the other story that I remember was it's not going to be as good. It was the one detail that got me is that this lady got in her car, closed the door, shut the door, and then like looked up, and there was another person like right outside of the door, like closed the door, like, and then looked up, and there's this smiling lady, and just starts slamming her head into the car.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like, no, pause. I can't do that. I can't, like,
Not right now.
It gets me. So, Smiling Man.
Okay, you're not the only person that pauses on stories. I've done that so many
yeah.
times where I'm like,
But I won't
"All
do
right,
it for, like,
I gotta like fucking take a breather for a second.
I get that, but I haven't done it for anything but the Smiling Man story or a smiling person. That one was a woman in that case, from what I remember. But so Smiling Man, I think it's almost always a man. The one that I believe I saw was a man.
I can't believe that you've seen that.
I don't. I'm getting chills right now just thinking about it.
I can't wait, dude. I'm excited.
I don't want to
That's gonna be
overhype
live
it
streamed too.
because it scares me more than it's gonna scare other people because I saw it. But
Like,
anyways, it's
when you told me the story, it was definitely just like creepy.
yeah.
I don't know if it like gave me the chills per se, but
There was a moment when I remember
It's-
telling you the story, and then
it's
you
personal-
realized, like you were like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
how it happened."
Yeah.
And then when my brain realized that you realized, I was like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
no!"
Dude, I
it's
vibe off you,
personal.
bro. I'm gonna be freaking out the whole time.
It's
with
personal
you.
to me because I know the setting of it too.
Yes, yeah. So Smiling Man. Before we get too far gone from this, anything from what I haven't done research because I don't want to.
Now you have to.
It's the uncanny valley. The smile is just too large for the face.
like a Chelsea grin. maybe?
not across. It's not
No,
like,
like their actual.
It's not like the lips, the teeth.
the actual like size of their mouth.
It's
yes.
just
Like
big.
teeth.
Yes, and it's like so Chelsea smiles like it's like the cut is all the way to the ears. It doesn't go that far, but it's like it's
What
almost
was-
if you draw a face
what was the
and
movie-
you cartoonishly make it too big.
What was
okay.
what was the movie we were trying to figure out with the dude where he puts Botox? in
Oh,
his-
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
John
and
Travolta.
What,
Yeah.
what movie was that?
I don't remember. We looked it up and I can't remember.
But like he puts too much Botox in his face,
Uh-huh.
and his mouth is stuck, like smiling like this, and he like does like 2 full scenes like that. It's the most hilarious shit.
Oh, but it's
but like that's
it's
creepy because
yeah.
like it's just a huge smile.
Yeah.
so it's gonna ruin me, but I will try to find pictures.
Oh Jesus!
of what I saw, and it's such a weird like.
I can't wait, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope all y'all are excited too.
It's
'cause
like the same like genre of like lore as like Hatman too.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about like the smiling.
I
man.
believe Terraform just recently, or
Oh,
maybe
did
one
they?
of their first.
Oh,
ones
that's
was
okay. That's
Smiling
what I've
Man.
been thinking about that this
Yeah,
whole time.
and that was a good one too because I
Oh,
remember
nice,
I
yeah.
remember seeing them post it. I was like, oh god, I have to listen to it. It's like I have
I
to.
gotta
now.
support, but
Yeah.
fuck.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of which, go check out Terraform Podcast. They're our podcast buddies. Them and Dark Hour Podcast. Those are, they're both really good at what they do, and I binge listened to all their stuff already. So
Definitely.
yeah, definitely go check them out. That's Dark Hour Podcast and Terraform Podcast.
Yeah.
We actually did the some of the music for their podcast, Terraform Podcast.
Yeah.
You can hear me screaming on their shit.
Yeah, and be sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe,
And, like,
leave a review.
And we invite you even more to, like, just leave us a comment, like, because we need stuff for the chat segment. So, like,
Yeah.
whatever question is on your mind, doesn't have to be horror related, doesn't have to be podcast related, it could be band related.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're in a
Yeah.
band, like we play shows and stuff. If you have questions about absolutely anything, I saw something
That
on the
was the
screen. What was
June
that?
bug.
Oh, there's a bug. Ooh. Could you see it on camera?
yeah.
Okay. We hit a milestone
Oh, yes, we did. We hit our 50.
I was gonna get to
So
that, but yeah, thanks.
now we're on the wait list of getting ad monetization stuff so that we can start making money doing this.
But more importantly,
More importantly, now we have to do a live stream that won't be a pod episode.
Chat voted on it.
Yeah, but Chad voted on it, and we have to live stream us using the Luigi board.
The squeegee board. Luigi board is my favorite variant.
We're gonna keep making fun of it until it actually moves.
Yeah, I try and move it when you aren't paying attention to freak you out, but it never works. But it's ready. I can feel it.
Unless it fucking moves on its own.
Yeah. I don't have any outright fear of just this thing. That doesn't
I got
Yeah.
chills touching that though. That was weird. What if we all just started vibrating?
demon.
Oh my god!
Right.
Both,
I gotta
for,
put you
for
on.
listeners, we both put our hand on the Ouija board. And
Oh man! All right, you guys ready to kill it?
yeah. Where can you find us? Just
Oh
to hand
yes,
it out.
please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube,
Insert your
Dead Reflections
address.
Podcast. We're also on Instagram. We're also on Facebook. We're also on the Twitter Twatter.
At
but yeah.
DR, what is it? Dead RP.
Yeah, at Dead R Podcast.
Gotcha.
At Dead R Podcast, and then I think Facebook is just Dead Reflections Podcast.
Gotcha.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope you have a spoopy night.
Yeah.